the internet. Welcome to another episode of Bill Has Opinions, the drinking show at the Gen X Problem. I'm Laura Lavoie, and I'm here with Bill Perkins, who has opinions.
Ahoy, hoy.
Ahoy, hoy. We're not centered. I'm going to make us a little more centered.
All right.
Hi.
Hi.
Hello, internet. So, yeah, we're back.
Yeah.
Actually, we shouldn't be off again for a while, but...
Yeah, for a couple weeks anyway.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, yeah, not until Dragon Con.
All right, very good. So, like, at least 2 more weeks. 3? I don't know.
4 more. 4 Mondays, including today. So we have 4 more shows before Dragon Con.
How about that?
With
That's a good long streak.
3 weeks to Dragon Con.
That's a good long streak of not taking... Yeah, it's cool.
Yeah.
It's fine.
So, but gird your loins, folks. We'll be talking a lot about
We got
Dragon
opinions coming your way.
So how are you? How have you been since last week?
Well, I was telling you before the show, I had a hell of a day today. Other than that, I've been all right. But you know, we had like one of them whirlwind days. Like 2 of my grandkids are out of school with some damn thing or another. One's got pink eye, one's got lice.
Jeez.
It's been a whole fucking ordeal, and
Jeez.
you know, mostly my wife's been dealing with this shit, not me. And then on top of that, she had a bunch of call outs from work today, and I don't even know what the fucking shakeout with that was. She was like losing her damn mind, and I was like, you know, trying my darndest to be supportive at the same time, trying to avoid it.
Right.
Whatever you call that, when you're simultaneously trying to be supportive but also trying to avoid the situation.
Right. I hear that. Yeah. Well, because a lot of times you're like, I can't do anything to solve this, so
exactly.
I'm
just gonna try and stay out of your way.
Yeah.
And hope that none of this falls onto me.
Right. Specifically, the lice.
Specifically that. Yeah.
Nobody wants that.
Yeah. I did some laundry. I did a lot of bedding laundry today. Is what I did.
I bet.
But other than that, yeah. Other than that, life is great.
Okay.
I mean, it did pour rain for an hour, which I could have done without. But at least it finished before I had to drive up here, which was great. It just
I was a little worried about that.
It came through, it rained like hell, and then by like 5 o'clock, it was like, kind of clearing up. Like, it was a little drizzly down my way, but halfway here, it stopped. It was sunny, and I was like, oh, it's sweet.
It was sunny even.
Ooh, yeah.
Nice.
Weird. It's fucking summertime, man. You know, weather.
Fucking summertime.
Yeah.
That's true. No, it biblical poured.
Oh, gosh, yeah.
Today,
No, it was crazy for about an hour, and then it wasn't.
Yeah. Well, yeah, no, life has been fine with me. We're just getting ready for Dragon Con. We went to AVL Fest.
Oh, yeah. How was that? Did you have a good time?
Did. Yeah, absolutely. I definitely recommend checking it out next year. This was the first AVL Fest.
Yeah.
And it was one of the most smoothly run first-time events I have ever been to.
That's interesting. But, yeah, cool. I'm glad to hear it. I mean, I suppose, though all the venues are not, like, new to having things.
No, there was one relatively new venue, and you could tell. Like the music was fine, and the venue was okay, but it was still new, and it had some kinks to work out.
Okay,
but that didn't affect the show or the production.
What was the best thing you saw?
Oh goodness, the best thing I enjoyed very muchly was Anya Hinkle.
Okay, yeah, I've seen her several times. Yeah. She plays at the Purple Onion like 2 or 3 times a year.
Nice. Yeah, it was very good. I really love the Moon and You too.
Oh yeah, they also played the. This was the thing I was telling Matt was like, "Hey, you should come to this," and I was like, "I wanted to come, but I didn't find out about it until after pre-sale, and then the ticket prices like doubled."
Well, it was $50 for pre-sale and $100 for regular.
Yeah.
But what was great about it is because there were hundreds of bands. Like it was scheduled like Dragon Con, where it was like
be here or be there.
6 bands every hour.
It was scheduled like South by Southwest.
Yes.
To be fair, is what it's trying to do.
Yes.
It's like actual version. But all I was saying was, if I had gotten into pre-sale, I wouldn't have minded paying $50 for it. I wasn't going to pay $100 for it, especially since all these bands. There were a lot of bands I wanted to see for sure. But I've seen them all at my wife's restaurant.
Well,
you know,
like we saw 10 bands over the weekend, and even if we had bought the $100 tickets, that's $10 a band.
That's $10 a band. That's fair.
It's not bad. And
it's a good shakeout. It's just like this at this point in the summer, I don't really have $100 to throw away on a concert.
True. Well, we bought our tickets in like the spring.
Again, had I bought the pre-sale, same as you, I didn't see pre-sale. I only saw like when they were like the first time they rolled out like the local lineup. They were like, "Hey, here's this thing we're doing." And I was like, oh, that sounds awesome. I know half those bands. I'd go see all those again. And then I went and looked to see what the ticket prices were. And I was like, well, And then here's the difference between me and you is for you, it's a Uber across town.
You can always stay here.
I know, I'm aware, but you know what I'm saying. Like I have to drive up here and do the thing, and now my wife's gonna have to work all weekend. Like in the summertime, she's not available, so that's a whole thing too. I'm not saying no. I'm just saying I did have some concerns. And,
sure.
If I had gotten the pre-sale, I would have totally been there, and I would have done. I would have seen because I definitely saw. On the list, the first time they rolled the list out, I was like, there are like at least 7 or 8 bands I want to see. And then later on, they came back around.
Yeah.
And they dropped a few more because I mentioned Secret Shame to you.
Mm-hmm. We didn't even make it to Secret Shame.
Secret Shame weren't on the first name drop. They must have been added later. So had I known that, like if Secret Shame had been, because I actually said this, I remember Martin Anderson, who's on WNCW, who lives in Saluda. Mm-hmm. So he's not a friend, but an acquaintance. I see him around, but he's a Facebook friend, and he had posted something about it, and I was like, shit, man, like that's only missing like one of my favorite Asheville bands that first lineup, and then later on they dropped, right? And I was like, oh shit, now it's got everything I want to see. Did you get to see Michael Flynn?
We did not, because another show we wanted to see was playing at the exact same time.
And this is the problem with multiple stage concerts to me, is that you're going to wind up with a conflict, same as Dragon Con, I guess. Right. Probably same as, I imagine.
South by Southwest.
I'm sure when you go to South by Southwest, you're like, God dang it. You got to figure out which one you like more,
And what I realized, the mistake I made, like the very first night, I was picking bands that I recognized. I'm like, oh, let's go see those bands. And then what I realized what I needed to do instead was pick bands I don't know.
Right.
Because then you're getting all kinds of new stuff.
That's fair.
And that's what we did.
And I honestly, yeah. And truthfully, I should do the same if I was doing that, because as I said to Matt, I've seen a lot of these bands at Emily's restaurant. Like, did you get to Fancy and the Gentleman at all?
Nope.
Oh God, you didn't get to that one.
No,
either.
We saw 10 different things over those days, so we couldn't have. Yeah. Although I will tell you, actually, you asked what my favorite band was. My favorite event was on Sunday. They did a drag brunch.
I figured that was your favorite event.
And that was so much fun. It was a huge turnout. Sure. Massive turnout. More than I've ever seen at a drag show in town. And it was fantastic. They did a great job. So, yeah, that was awesome. Plus, it was at New Belgium, so I could get a couple 1985s.
Oh, damn. Yeah.
I think maybe 3 1985s. But it was like an hour and a half show. Yeah. So
okay. Hey.
Speaking of, we're way into the. Anywho, well, I am currently drinking a highlight. I've had this on the Sweetwater's light IPA, and then we've had this too, which I know is one of your favorites right now, the daytime. But as soon as I'm done with this first one, you brought this. Which is because we both think it's funny. Moving to Montana, and then there's a little dental floss. If you're not familiar, that's, of course, a fantastic, classic Frank Zappa song.
Yeah. So, I was telling her, every time anybody I know goes to Montana to visit, I'm always like, hey, bring me back some dental floss. And then they're always like, what?
What? No, but I do it too. Absolutely. I totally do it.
Yeah.
I 100% bring that up.
I want to talk about a thing I found over the weekend. I got this thing called Jungle Boogie, which is also a song.
Yeah, that's true.
But it is from a brewery in Chicago called Mars Community Brewing. And this is a wheat ale with rooibos tea. And I don't know if you guys remember, but back in January, I went to a brewery down in Savannah, and I had several different tea beers. And I have been like on a Jones for tea beers ever since. And I haven't found any, and I've asked around and blah, blah, blah. Anyway, I was in the bottle shop the other day, and I saw this. And I had already sat down and drank 2 beers at the bar, and then I was going to get my to-go beers. And I was putting together a little packet of to-go beers, and I saw one of these, and I grabbed 2 of them, and I went up first, and I said, "Hey, open this for me. I'm going to drink this right now." And I drank it, and I was like, "Yeah, okay, I'll get 2 of those." But I'm probably going to go back and buy a 6-pack of it, even though it's $18 a 6-pack.
Oh, geez.
I will because otherwise I will be kicking myself when I can't get it. Yeah, so it's worth it. It's cheaper than driving to Savannah. Although I will go back to Savannah and get some tea beer down there at some point. Well,
I love Savannah. So
so that it's its own thing. Like you have reason to drive to Savannah, and then I know that brewery down there, Coastal Empire, by the way, brewery in Savannah that I had the delicious tea beers. They had several different kinds of tea ales. Right. But this one is a pale wheat ale with rooibos, and this like clicks all my boxes because I love wheat ales. I love tea beers. Chicago, I like Chicago. I like
the art.
The art. It's got flowers on it.
It even says where the art is from. Like right.
Oh goddamn! Artwork by Louis. I can't read that. Capozini or something. I can't.
Capozol. I can't. No, it's Italian.
It's tiny.
Italy McItalianson.
Yeah,
is the name of that.
It's a me.
It's me. Yes, exactly.
Anywho, I like everything about this beer, Jungle Boogie by Mars Brewing in Chicago. If you can get a hold of it, my friends in the Midwest, you probably can. I guess. I don't know how distributorships work.
No.
Shit, who knows? Like that stuff's crazy.
I'm gonna.
It's probably got like blackout zones, just like NFL on TV or something.
Right, exactly. But yeah, I'm gonna pour this here. It's from Charlotte.
Yeah, moving to Montana, but it's not from Montana.
Right. And I'm gonna pour myself like a whole one of these because you're not gonna. You bought it because you like the name, but I thought it was cute. I thought you'd like it. I was like,
oh,
I'll definitely like it. It's a West Coast style India Pale Ale with Citra, Simcoe, and Strata hops. And Simcoe is one of my very favorite hops.
Yeah, but it's got them other two also.
Well, yeah, but so here's some. You can pour yourself a little.
Hold on, which hops?
Citra, Simcoe, and Strata.
Well, Citra, okay.
Yeah, but with the Simcoe's kind of grassy.
Yeah, and is the Strata one piney or?
I actually don't know what Strata is.
Okay, but we'll find out.
I'm about to find out. Let's see. Oh, I like that.
How is it?
I like it.
All right.
I taste the citrus. It tastes really fresh. I don't know. Give it a taste.
Like dental floss? Like minty?
It tastes nothing like or cinnamon, like fake cinnamon. The dental floss, it's like the cinnamon flavor.
I don't like, no, I'm a mint floss person.
I'm a natural floss person.
Just a string with wax on it.
Yeah, just wax string because I don't want to taste.
I don't want to taste shit. Like everything else is mini enough. I got mouthwash. I got toothpaste. I don't need all that.
I do not. All right, we better get into this topic otherwise we are. What do you think? Did you taste it?
No, not yet. I'm sorry. I'm going to finish. I got like one swig left of this. And
let me know when you do. So let's start out. So the episode today, man. We don't often get political. We do sometimes get political. But
for a minute. We don't usually do a whole show.
Yeah, we've done a couple. But we've recently been back and forth about some of this shit. And man, what the fuck, Florida? That's all I really have to say. Like, seriously, Florida. So if you're from Florida, I'm sorry. If you're from Florida and support the current situation, I'm not sorry.
Yeah, sorry, not sorry.
And if you need to get out of Florida, blink twice.
Jesus, right? Like I have said several times, especially because I will say this. This is going to be my intro, I guess. Going into this, people might not know this about me, but I actually have a degree to teach. I went to school to become an educator. And by the time I was done with school and actually did my student teaching, I realized how political a job teaching was.
Oh, God, yeah.
And I was like, I am not interested in towing the line on this bullshit, And this was in the fucking 90s, right? Right. It wasn't even like as polarized as it is now.
Right.
But I realized it was already going that way. They were already doing that kind of shit where they were like constantly like, well, teachers need to be held to a fucking standard and they got to be able to prove that they're doing a thing and blah, 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 blah,
Mm-hmm.
And so I kind of smelled where the wind was going on that whole thing. And I don't deal well with that kind of. So to me, the reason I wanted to go into education was to affect our future, to help kids and whatever. But even in student teaching, which I only did for, goddamn, like a couple months of my life.
Like a semester. Yeah, right.
Not even a whole semester, like a portion of a semester. But I had a scenario where there was a kid I was trying to help and the administration fucking got in the way of it because it didn't the kind of help I was trying to provide this kid didn't work out with their philosophy on the way they wanted to do things or something. And they were just like, no, that's not what we do here. We're not doing that, blah, 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 And I was just like, okay, you know what? I'm just trying to help this fucking kid. That's all I cared about. And you're making it seem like that's a fucking crime. And to me, I was like, all right, well, if that's how it's going to be, like, I haven't even started my career yet. So basically, I'm getting out of school with a degree to teach, and I have fucking no interest in teaching now. Basically, you told me, like, you wasted 4 years of your fucking life. You should have got a different degree. That's what I learned. I wound up neither going into art nor education, even though I had a degree in art education, because I was like, fuck all this. I'm done with it. I'll just go find a stupid office job. And that's what I've done my entire career, is worked in some stupid office job as a data analyst or something. You have a degree in art education is just a fucking interesting footnote when I apply for jobs.
It's just, it's a fun fact about me.
Yeah, right? Essentially. But that's what I'm saying. So whenever I remember a couple of these things coming up that we're going to talk about, specifically the items related to the educational standards in Florida, every time they mention this shit, I'm like, God damn it. If I had gone into education and somebody came to me and said, hey, you're not, now you have to teach this horse shit. I'd be like, no, sir, I don't think I will. I'd be like looking for a new job next day, like,
no, sir, I didn't like it.
No, exactly. That's exactly where I'd be. I'd be like, fuck no, I'm not teaching horse shit. I'm not going to tell kids, well, there's this theory, and then there's also creationism. I'm not going to humor that horse shit.
No.
I'm not in my science class.
Oh, I got a non-Florida story about that.
Well, sure. I mean, because it happens all over. This shit's not exclusive to Florida.
Right.
Florida's just the fucking petri dish for this shit.
Right now, for sure. Yeah, it's a pendulum swing, right? Like, suddenly, according to, the majority of cis white men, apparently, or at least a large cohort of cis white men, cisgendered white men, that right now there's a belief that everybody else is getting all these rights, and that means my rights are being taken away. So it's a pendulum swing. So we've moved the dial just a little in favor of equality for LGBTQ plus, for women, for
people of color,
BIPOC people. And we've moved it just this much.
Hair. And then
everybody's like, nope, and they're going to here. Like, they're just going way back up.
I do realize, and this is a thing where you have to take it with a grain of salt. You have to realize that it's always, every time there's a change in not just in this in general, in the world, there's a change, and then there's always this loud pendulum swing. But the pendulum swing, like the loud pendulum swing, is not necessarily the majority.
Right.
It's just a very loud group of people who like to holler and hoot.
Right.
And I always say they get louder the more they're losing, So I like to keep that. I try to keep that in perspective.
Except sometimes they win a little bit before they do.
Yeah. They do.
And that's problematic.
They're the kind of people who like, they want to take other people down with them on the way out or something. That's the issue, I guess. That's
absolutely.
Honestly, it's like they understand that it's a lost cause and they got to hoop and holler on their way out, but it doesn't mean they're going to leave without some pain.
Right.
Which is always the case.
And Florida is the test case right now.
Sure.
So we'll get into the actual why Florida is the test case for all this right now, including this isn't even all of their ridiculous proposed bills.
Sure.
And I don't want to, because we live in North Carolina, right? We're not great.
We're not immune to it.
There's a lot of shit going on in our state assembly
the most liberal of the southern states.
Yeah. Well,
we got that going for us.
We have more liberal cities than even other southern states. Like Georgia, you've got like the college towns.
Sure.
But you've got Atlanta, and then you've got like a couple of college towns outside of it. But otherwise, the rest of it's red.
Right.
Except in the last election. Thank you, Georgia. But like North Carolina, we've got Asheville, which is, the biggest city on this side of the state. You've got Charlotte, you've got Raleigh, you've got the Raleigh-Durham whole area. Winston-Salem. You've got Wilmington. You've got all these areas that are little blue dots.
Yeah.
In this, so you do it. So anyway, but we're not immune by any means.
No.
But
absolutely, you drive 15 minutes out of any area in North Carolina, and you're going to talk to some asshole who's got some bad opinions, you know?
For sure. But not that our segue to our station break this week has anything to do with Florida.
Okay.
In fact, the station break is from Michigan, which is one of our favorite places.
Far from Florida as well,
and doing
far,
a lot of really great things legislatively. Like they're protecting gender affirming care. They're protecting all kinds of things. Abortion has been codified in Michigan. So anyway, if you need a card to or
if you need a place to move, go to Michigan. I guess
Michigan. But definitely check out Colors of Kindness. It's my sister. She does this art. And they're adorable and we love them. So you want pride cards like shown up here. Do you want I'm sorry you live in Florida cards to send to your Florida friends? Everything's custom order. You can do whatever you want.
Oh gosh, I'm sorry you live in Florida cards. Sound like a thing.
It should be.
It should be a thing.
It should be. So check out Colors of Kindness on Facebook. And order some cards because that's my sister and she does good work and I like her.
Do that.
I like her because she's my sister.
You know, I'm going to say something going into this. Sorry, it's a goddamn shame. And I'll say why it's a damn shame is because here's the thing. If you live where I live.
What do you think of it before you get into that?
Oh.
You've been drinking it, so you apparently are
it's not revolting or anything. You know,
right.
It's okay. I would I go out of my way to drink a lot of it? No, but you know, it's got alcohol in it. It's fine.
All right. So you were saying.
I'm saying the sad part is if you live where we live, you know, in the wintertime, Florida. Florida is the best way to get the fuck away from winter for a minute. Right?
Yes.
I mean, January. I've been down to Disney World. I've been to Key West.
We go pretty frequently.
Yeah, you know, you shoot down there for a minute. You go to Pensacola. There's some places in Florida that are really lovely.
Actually, I really love Pensacola.
There's some really great places in Florida. So I'm not trying to shit all over Florida. It's just at the same time, they're fucking their system down there, and you can't just dismiss it and go, well, it's just the system because somebody's fucking voting for these people.
Yeah.
The only thing I can figure is because Florida is half old people and half Cuban expats who you've never met a more conservative group than that. I don't know whether it's just it's probably a pendulum swing thing there too. You get out of a situation.
Yeah, because you're from a dictatorship.
You're from a communist dictatorship, supposedly. And so you go, well, let's do the opposite. Let's be a fascist state then. That'd be awesome, wouldn't it?
Well, and I think
why wouldn't you shoot for hey, why don't we have no kind of dictatorship? Because that's the part I don't like. I don't like the authoritarianism. But I actually think that people in general must fucking love authoritarianism, even though they all put fucking stickers on the back of their car with a snake saying he doesn't like it.
No, I call those the no step on snake.
No step on snake. But at the same time, then anything authoritarian they hear, they're they got a fucking hard on for it, right?
No, I don't get it at all. I don't get it at all.
A severe twisted bullshit thing going on in those people's brains that I just don't understand.
And there was a period of time, mostly when we were kids, where the old people in Florida were the New York Democrats and the Midwestern Democrats that moved down there to retire in Boca Raton.
Yeah.
But they're all dead because they were already nearly dead before we came of age.
That must have been, and they must have all been World War II vets or something, right? Now it's all just boomers. And boomers
for being the peace and love generation.
Well, that was a phase.
Apparently.
Which is the same reason why they thought when we were goth, they're that's a phase you're going through. And we're
exactly.
Oh, no. No, exactly. The world is fucked and we're done with it. You know.
My goth phase was actually Wicca.
Okay, well, but all right.
That's where I went with that.
But it wasn't. But I mean, so here's the thing. That was just a doorway to another.
Save a sip of that.
I will save a sip this time. I'm opening another one of those Jungle Boogies.
I'm gonna. Do you want any more of this? Because I'll drink.
No, you may finish that.
I will.
I mean, it was okay, but it wasn't.
I like
delicious.
It a lot. I think it's absolutely delicious.
Well, you should buy some more of it. Right. It's from Charlotte, Divine Barrel. You can get it probably at any bottle shop around here. If you look hard enough.
Yeah, if I try hard enough, you can get anything if you try hard enough.
That's true. I mean, you can always just ask me to buy another can of it too.
That's true.
I don't remember how much it was, $5 a can or something. I don't remember.
Oh, that's not so bad. I mean, it's not great, but it's not so bad.
It's not ideal, but but it is a tall can.
And you're absolutely right with the, I'm struggling right now. I actually have business in Florida and things like that. I'm struggling, wanting to go down there. I don't want to not support local business, but I don't want my money and taxes to go to support.
That's kind of where I'm at too. We've had this conversation in my household about like every time they do another stupid thing, I'm like,
that's really good. That's a good beer.
Yeah, it's a goddamn good beer. Yeah.
Yeah.
But every time they do another stupid thing, I kind of like, ugh.
Yeah.
And then me and my wife will discuss it, and I'm like, we should stay the fuck out of there. And she's like,
but it's so warm.
but it's going to be green in January down there, and it won't be here, and there's nowhere in betwixt that will.
Yeah, because some of the places like we've been. Actually, one of my favorite vacations was from St. Augustine, Florida. We took a whole month and we drove all the way up. We took our cat with us and we went to St. Augustine, Savannah, Charleston, and Wilmington, like through the entire month of February.
Right.
But the weather's still hit and miss. Like it was beautiful in St. Augustine. But by the time we got back to Wilmington, it was actually kind of chilly still because it's in North Carolina.
Yeah, I mean, and there's no guarantee. I mean, like I've been in northern Florida,
sure,
or as I like to call it, East Alabama, in January, where it's still plenty. Even Pensacola, a lot of times you'll get there, and it'll start off chilly. Maybe it warms up during the day,
right?
But it's not ideal. It's not what I was driving down there to get to, you know what I'm saying?
Right,
like,
exactly.
And this is because of the time of year I'm going.
Sure.
But you get down to the Keys or whatever, and then it gets kind of pleasant, weather-wise.
Right.
I mean, even if it's a chilly day in the Keys, it's still a fair day.
It's still a really nice day. Absolutely. Absolutely.
It might get chilly enough to make the iguanas not move so fast, and that's about it.
That's
right?
true. All right. So there's no way we're going to get through all of this.
Hell no.
So let's start out with so just a brief history on why Florida. Why Florida?
What's going on?
So part of the reason Ron DeSantis won in a landslide his last election was because he had very open COVID policies.
I see.
And Floridians wanted to be open.
They definitely did. I will say, because we wintered down there during COVID.
Right.
And I remember we stopped in Ocala.
Yeah. Not a mask to be seen.
Oh, God. There was a bar, and it was nuts to butts. We did not go in this bar. But this was like, what was this, 2021 or something, I want to say.
Yeah, January 2021, so it was early.
Yeah, early in the whole thing.
Still less than a year from the start of the pandemic.
Right, and we would see places in Ocala where we'd be like, I'm not going in there, and that's not cool. Like, they were just pretending, like, Florida pretended like it didn't happen. Like, this wasn't a thing that was going on. And I'm sure if you looked at the mortality rates in Florida,
they are very high. No, that's not even speculation.
No, I'm not fucking around. Like they treated it like it wasn't a thing, and people died like it wasn't a fucking thing. I guess, right?
Now we're just not talking about that part of it. But because of the I use the term liberal, but I mean conservative, very liberal COVID laws where it was like anything goes, no mask mandates, everything can be open, no vaccine mandates. None of
do what you want. Fuck it.
Literally do what you want. A lot of people died, but a lot of the, my freedom people.
Freedoms.
My
freedoms.
Yeah, they celebrated. So that's the reason DeSantis got reelected because he had very liberal, not in the progressive sense, but liberal COVID policies. Very lax COVID policies. Very lack of COVID policies.
Laissez-faire.
Yeah. So
if you like the use of the Latin.
If you do. But that led to what we're seeing now, which is basically fascism in the form of Florida.
Yeah.
Which has led so I've got a list of some of the things that have happened.
Well, let's just cut through them real quick.
We'll just go through them. Of course, one of the most famous was the Don't Say Gay. Right? So that came out pretty early into his next term.
Yeah.
Where he said in schools, You're not allowed. It started with elementary schools. It ended up being all K through 12.
Oh, okay.
But it started out being you can't even talk about the existence of gayness, which means you're, a LGBTQ science teacher or a third grade teacher who just has a picture of his husband on his desk, couldn't answer questions, which should be, marriage equality is a thing. Yeah. You have a husband, you should be able to say, that's my husband.
Right. When the kids go, hey, what'd you do over the weekend?
Right.
You'd be able to say, well, me and my husband went to do this thing.
Which a heterosexual teacher
will absolutely be able to do.
Will do and does do.
Yeah, 100%.
So they're again, that's the pendulum swing. Marriage equality was normalized, and now they're saying, nope, don't normalize that. No, you can't.
It's normalized, but you can't talk about it.
Exactly. So the
Pretend
don't say
it didn't
gay
happen.
No, yeah, that was the big thing about don't say gay, which is still ridiculous. The last time I was in Florida, I said gay all the time. I just walked down the street
places going gay,
gay, gay, gay. Yeah, no, I did. I'm not joking. I actually did, and I went to several LGBTQ events.
I've got the kind of thing. I've got the kind of mischief in me where I always want to fill those corner little book note things that people put on the corners.
Oh yeah.
I always want to fill them with gay affirming literature,
right,
or just anything subversive. Honestly, to go, I don't really give a fuck.
The weird part is so much stuff is subversive. You put in some James Baldwin. Right. You put in some The Handmaid's Tale.
That's true. I wouldn't have to go out of my way to do something subversive, although I would go out of my way.
Go buy banned books.
The things I would put in there would you'd wish I only put the shit that the normies think is weird, right? That's the thing. Right. Your kid's gonna be reading some off the wall shit and get some crazy ideas if they pick up the books that I throw in the little kiosk, because because I'm telling you,
it's gonna be beat poetry and stuff for sure. All right, but don't say gay. No, not all of these are in order because it was impossible to get them in order,
Jesus,
a timeline. Yeah. But similar to don't say gay, of course, is banning gender affirming care. Specifically, it's been criminalized for minors. So doctors and parents who are providing gender affirming care to trans kids. It's criminalized, which means you can literally be arrested for giving healthcare to your child.
Right.
And these are things that they the language they use is very much on purpose. It's we got to protect the kids.
Sure.
But these are children. They're children.
Well,
and they're not being very protected.
Protect the kids always goes on one hand, we got to protect the kids, and it's always this language about keeping them away from predators and blah blah blah. But at the same time,
the grooming. Yeah.
But again, and I always say this to people whenever they bring this shit up, and I'm gonna say it right now.
It's true.
If you want to keep your kids from getting raped, just keep them the fuck away from a church.
That's absolutely
because 90% of the time kids are raped, it's in a fucking church or with a churchy type person.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Or a Boy Scout leader or something like that.
There's a great documentary.
Fucking stay away from that shit.
Watch The Shiny Happy People on Amazon, which is ostensibly about the Duggars, but it's about the greater movement that created the Duggars.
Oh yeah, the Quiverful.
And it's that's it. That's grooming.
Right.
They're literally grooming children, particularly girls, to be victims. And they created a culture where all of the girls were victimized by their church leaders.
Sure.
Sometimes their family. So of course that happened, banning gender affirming care. But then, Florida, when Dobbs went through the Supreme Court and effectively eliminated Roe v. Wade, right? So Dobbs, the fucking decision. So women aren't entirely people, and they're not allowed to make choices for their own healthcare, including carrying a child to term. Florida was actually one of the few southern states that still had pretty decent abortion laws. So it wasn't that restricted at the time. Until
they realized
they could.
That it was. They were like, oh shit, our abortion laws are kind of open-minded.
Yeah.
We shouldn't have that.
So almost immediately it became a 6-week abortion ban, which, by the way, most women do not know they're pregnant by the time at 6 weeks. Like you don't know. It's not. It
hasn't affected your life yet.
It's not. Well, you don't even miss a period at that point. You have no idea.
Yeah.
So
that's a month and a week and 2 weeks to be clear, right? Yeah.
Yes. A month and 2 weeks.
So you're like, you're starting to get an inkling that maybe something's up.
Yeah. Like, and only if but even not necessarily 6 weeks. Like, right. So
there's people who don't fucking have periods on the regular anyway.
Sure. But you do the sex and then, so say you do the sex right when your period is due or right after your period, I guess.
Yeah.
And then you have 4 weeks until your next period.
Yeah.
Then you don't get a period. But it doesn't time. It's not like you time sex that way, right?
Sure, yeah, you know, like
you could. It could be a week after your last. So things could be way off. You would never know. You don't know. Women do not know they're pregnant at 6 weeks. It's not possible.
Yeah. No, I think it's ridiculous too. It's fucking ridiculous.
And also, Dobbs really made it fairly concrete that women are not entirely people,
right?
That were vessels.
3/4 of a person,
something like that.
Okay.
I mean, it's not that far from it.
1/3. What was it? What was that thing back in the day? The black people.
Yeah, it was 3/4. So that
okay.
And then for sure. So
I couldn't remember.
Yeah, it wasn't great. And it's not. It wasn't great then, and it's not great now.
No,
right.
It doesn't get better with it. It's not one of those things. You know what was a cute idea back in the day when we
making partial people so southern states could have more electoral votes.
But corporations are a whole person, right? Those are still
corporations are whole people.
That's a whole person.
Absolutely. Yeah. No.
All right. As long as that. Hey, as long as Twitter gets a full vote.
You are correct. You are correct.
3/5.
3/5.
I thought it was some kind of crazy. Yeah, it sounded like a time signature.
3/5 is actually a worse number.
It's like a jazzy time signature.
Like 3/4 would actually be more of a person.
3/5. That's just to confuse Americans. Like they
really
won't know how much meat's in that sandwich.
Hi, new viewer.
I love you.
Glad to see
wherever you are. Thanks for being here.
We're glad you're here. So. And of course, on top of that, so abortion bans ostensibly protect the children too, right? Because
the unborn children.
But what about the unborn children? Which is, by the way, a convenient
because they can't advocate for themselves. So
right. So if you make it sound like,
no, I've read a lot of interesting literature on why the unborn is a convenient scapegoat. Group to advocate for because they're never going to speak for themselves. They can't say what they want or don't want, blah blah blah. And once you're born, you're not the unborn anymore.
Right. Nobody gives a shit.
And nobody gives a shit for you. So then you're not that group and haha.
Nobody cares.
Yeah.
But in the effort of protecting children, which is always the thing that these folks get behind, in Florida, along with many other states, drag show bans. And their actual drag show ban is called Protection of Children. Like, that's the name of the bill. And that's insanity. I was just at a drag show, a drag brunch. It was at 1:00 in the afternoon. There were an assload of kids there, and they were loving it. And there was nothing inappropriate. Nothing. I mean, not a single thing inappropriate. Like, don't take your kids to a strip club. I mean, I guess if you really want to, but I would advise against it.
I mean,
but that's not
only if it's in the guise of a police investigation. Go to a strip club to me is
Toddler Cop.
Toddler Cop.
That's the new show.
This is something I'm pitching. As soon as the strike's over, I'm getting this thing greenlit. Toddler Cop. This fall on FX.
So yes, and. Yeah, for sure. So no, protection of children is an absolute. That's just bullshit. But in their drag show bans, Tennessee obviously was one of them, in Texas.
Yeah, and
there's one proposed here. And that's
most of them have been struck down or at least put on hold by
because they're First Amendment.
Yeah, because they're complete fucking bullshit. There's no way to uphold them, but it's ridiculous that you even have to have the argument. Honest to God, here's the thing. I mean, if you're going to pull this shit, like, why, you basically, and this is the funny thing. You remember back when Hillary released her book, It Takes a Village?
Yeah.
And everybody cried and moaned, oh no, it doesn't take a village. I'm in charge of my children. I do what I want. like nobody tells me how to raise my kids. Well, okay, well then fucking let people raise their kids how they fucking want. If I want to take my kids to drag shows, that's my business, is it not?
Yeah.
But no, I had this argument the other day. Somebody was on the Hendersonville local Facebook group, pissing and moaning, and actually, I think it actually worked. There was a brewery. I want to say over in Brevard that was going to have a drag show, a drag brunch.
Yes, absolutely. Yep.
And people pissed and moaned, and they actually canceled it because it got too political.
Yeah.
But this one guy who came in and kept moaning about it, I was like, wait a minute. I'm sorry, sir. So you're telling me that you take your kids to breweries every weekend?
Yeah, exactly.
And you're pissed off. You're pissed off because they're going to have a drag show at the brewery.
Right.
And I'm like, I hate it for your fucking kids that they have to spend every Sunday at a brewery or a bar. Like, what kind of parenting is that? And
without even any entertainment. At least
and the guy came back in and he was like, well, now they raised it to 18 and over. And I was like, that doesn't cancel out my argument, sir. Mm-hmm. My argument was that you're the kind of asshole parent who dragged your kids to a bar or brewery with nothing to fucking do except watch your ass drink. Yep. My point was that you're a terrible parent in general. And like the least of their fucking worries would be if there was a drag show at the fucking brewery, at least they'd be like, well, we got that going for us.
Yeah, I mean, at least there's entertainment. I'll tell you, the kids at the drag show on Sunday they were so excited. They were dancing along. They were holding out the bills. They were having a blast.
And it
was a disco theme. These kids don't know these songs, so they don't care because it's fun.
Oh man, it's got a good beat and you can dance to it.
Exactly, which is what disco was. So I also want to point out, not specific to Florida, because there are a lot of these going around.
Yeah.
But obviously Florida did this too. Transgender sports and bathroom bans.
Oh Jesus.
And here's the thing about and again, they're always about protecting children. And here's the thing about trans kids that you probably don't know. Most of pre-puberty, trans kids are not given any medical intervention. It's purely social.
For sure.
Right? So these are not like
they're not going to give them hormones until the point in time in which your body starts to give you hormones.
And at that point, it's just it's a puberty blocker that they will give until you're about 18 and you can decide for yourself. Yeah. And at that point, you can move on to the next phase.
If you decide at 18, hey, you know what, this trans thing was just a phase, then they take you off the hormones and suddenly
you go about your life.
Bam, now you're a guy and you get all the guy shit and whatever.
Yeah, vice versa. Yes, absolutely. And so the idea that we're protecting children. So first of all, there's no 10-year-old child who wants to play baseball is infiltrating girls' sports because they want to dominate. It's just not happening.
I think where I'd really be good. Like, I'm a fair to Midland baseball player, but I bet I'd be a really good softball player.
Yeah, no child.
I would be a hell of a softball player, and if I could just if I could get some hormones,
I could make it to the Olympics.
Yeah, I could be a girl. And then I'll be a hell of a softball player, even though, like I said, I'm a shitty baseball player. Right. I mean, not shitty, but I'm all right. I'm just not spectacular.
Yeah, it's literally not happening.
Nobody's
folks.
like, oh yeah, let me do that. Like the only person who would do something like this would be Geddy Lee from Rush.
Who did take women's hormones to sing.
This is the only guy on earth who's ever gamed fucking hormones for his own, like.
It's funny, you can I'm a huge Rush fan, and you can totally tell when he stopped taking them. Like, it just completely changed everything. Because he took them specifically because they started out as a Led Zeppelin cover band.
Oh, and
or Led Zeppelin style band, so he wanted to hit the notes.
But Robert Plant,
he just naturally liked that.
The guy could still, like, he was still all dude.
And I'm still a huge fan of Rush. But yeah, I mean, he did, and to be fair, he did, as not a transgender person, he did long-term damage to himself. But being transgender is not the same as just being a man who's taking women's hormones. Those are different things.
He was basically pulling a castrati via hormones, right? Like,
yes, instead of cutting off his balls.
Yes.
All right, so, but Florida has not stopped.
No, they keep going.
LGBTQ.
The hits just keep coming.
Yeah, no, we're never going to get to the Florida man. We're going to have a whole separate episode about Florida man. Yeah. We're not even getting there tonight, I'm sure. But, so let's start with this one. Florida concealed weapons without a permit. Good job, Florida.
What could go wrong?
What could possibly happen? Florida, or a state that is known for more than one shooting of an unarmed black child, unarmed black man walking through a neighborhood who got stalked by a guy who had a gun and shot him to death with no provocation.
Or fucking, I don't know. I might be talking my ass here, but I'm not gonna. But I probably wouldn't be. Also, these cases, which this has become a new thing, because of the castle laws or whatever the fuck. Somebody just comes and knocks on your fucking door to ask for help, or or to sell you candy bars or whatever the fuck, and you just blow their brains out.
Yeah, a child that went to the wrong house looking for his siblings.
Yeah,
so I don't remember what state it was in, to be honest, but it doesn't. It might
have
happen
anywhere. It's fucking bullshit. This is all I'm saying. Like people, like more guns are never the fucking answer to any problem.
Right.
But I mean, except for the fact that I guess they might lead to less Floridians.
Yeah, but
that's the overall arcing good. That's the silver lining I'm willing to sing,
I guess. But yeah, concealed weapons without a permit just seems like problems waiting.
Yes, weird shit waiting to happen.
Yeah, we're in an era where there are issues with mass shootings. So if somebody can legally have a gun without, concealed, that just seems to be worse for me, not better.
Right.
I just don't see that as better.
I've never felt more comfortable when I'm sitting in a place and some dude walks in, like with a gun on him.
But now you won't see the gun on him. He's just in there concealed. With it. Yeah.
Although, did I tell you we were at a convention, a comic book convention here in North Carolina, actually about 2 years ago. It's not 2 years; it was more than that. But we were at a place. And this lady came in and she sat her purse down and her fucking pistol fell out of her purse. And she was like, silly me. Silly and I was like, that's not silly you. That's like, I could have fucking killed somebody.
Yeah, no shit.
Asshole,
No
and like,
shit.
And why do you need that here? Like, this is the place. And speaking of children, if for the children.
Protect the children.
We were in a place full of fucking children. It's a comic book convention, for Christ's sake.
Well, and also I want to say, protect the children, but we're not doing anything about these fucking school shootings. So...
which leads me to believe it's a hollow bunch of nonsense.
Yeah, it has nothing to do with the children.
No,
nothing.
Fuck the children. If the children got in your way, if suddenly you found out tomorrow that truck balls were detrimental to the lives of children, Florida would pass a law that said no one will take your truck balls.
Yeah, no, that's absolutely. But here's my solution to this. Let's just arm children. Let's just give all the children guns.
I've always wondered about this. Like, what happens if we give a fetus a gun?
Right.
What happens if a fetus with a gun shoots a cop, though? Whose side do they take?
I don't know. Can you do
Does it matter if the cop is black? That really complicates shit, doesn't it?
Can you put intrauterine guns? Like, can we do that?
I mean,
can we just like...
It's like an IUT, right? Like you just give them a small gun.
Just a little gun. Just a little
teeny gun for a fetus.
And then they learn how to use it before they even born.
Oh my God, they'd be so like... Imagine
how America that is.
Oh, that's the best.
That's the most America.
You give a little teeny Bible and a little teeny gun.
Oh God, no! Let's
just put them up there.
No, but that's. But to be fair, those are some of the abortion laws we have in our country.
I wouldn't be surprised if I wrote this up and pitched it to Ron DeSantis. I bet I could get him on board in the next couple of weeks.
Yes, you probably could, and actually you should, because it would continue to show how fucking ridiculous this bullshit is. But wait.
Why are we not giving small guns and small Bibles to fetuses, Rob DeSantis? That should be a law.
But no, and I feel like a Ginsu knife commercial. But wait, there's more. Okay, so these last two.
Oh my God, this is the one. Oh.
The last one is the one in particular, so that's why I'm saving it till last. But so in between all of this, in between the Don't Say Gay and everything else, was eliminating DEI programs, diversity, equity, and inclusion programs, and critical race theory in public roles. So, so universities could no longer teach critical race theory, which, by the way, That's not a thing. I mean, it is a thing, but it's not a thing.
It hasn't even caught on yet. Here's the thing: like nobody even began to teach it yet. It was like a new idea that we examined. The idea,
but the idea is that America has systemically kept BIPOC people from achieving success. I mean, that's the theory. And I can't refute that.
No.
Like, this cannot be refuted. It's true. It's fact.
This is the thing, and I'm going off on a tangent for a sec, kind of, sort of, not really. But I've always said this well, I don't know if I've said it to you, but I've definitely, I know I've said it to some people before. But one of these days, if BIPOC people were the villains that some people make them out to be, and they ever did the things that they deserve to do to us, white people, I mean, we've got it coming, okay? And I like at the point when I'm being beaten to death by a bunch of black people, I'll be like, you know what? I can't even get mad at you. Like honest to God, I fucking got it coming.
Yeah,
like,
you're a cis white man.
like I get it. I don't think. Truthfully, I don't. I'm thankful for the fucking forgiveness of black people, okay? Because they're very forgiving of our fucking sins, and you guys got no fucking idea. Anybody who thinks that, like, oh, this shit's coming, like, oh my God, things are terrible for an old white man.
Yeah.
No, they're not. They're fucking not. You have no idea. You will never reap what you've sown. You will never. And if you ever do, well, turnabout's fair play. But I'm telling you, I don't think it could ever happen to the degree that you've dished it out. You know what I'm saying? Like, and if they ever did dish it out to the degree that they've taken it, you would have fucking no idea. You'd be like, oh my God, this seems like just absolute fucking torture.
Right.
That's where I'm coming from. Like,
no, you're not wrong.
I read this shit, like, every time I read about something like this, like if I read some crazy, and all right, I shouldn't even say it. I'm not going to say it on the air.
We're just not.
All right.
That's another conversation.
I'm going to self-censor myself here and not say too much. But I'm just saying, Jesus, the fucking shit. Like the audacity of the cis straight white man sometimes. Yeah. It just fucking blows my mind.
So one time I was promoting the show. I was at an event and I had our stickers and I was promoting the show, and this guy asked me, because I was leaving stickers somewhere, and he's like, "What's this?" So I told him what it was, and he was a probably late 30s, early 40s white guy, and he's like, and I still don't know to this day if he was being ironic or not. He's like, yeah, because that's what we need, more straight white men and their opinions. And I'm like, I don't know if I should be, I don't know if you're being ironic or if you believe that this is true. And to be fair, this is a straight white guy and his opinions. That's the point of the show.
It is true.
But if we
although they might not be the opinions of the average straight white guy.
Right. And if we can
I would like to think that they are not. I don't know.
If we can promote that at least a little bit, that we're not your average cis white straight man.
Yeah. I mean, there's like probably a little, like this much overlap in that Venn diagram, I imagine, but
teeny
bit. I mean, I'm proud of what I fucking am. I understand, like, but I'm trying.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I can't control how I was born, but I can control how I attempt to relate to the world.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's the only thing I control. But so before we, so we're not going to get to Florida Man. We're going to have to do a Florida Man episode. And by the way, I only had stuff from June and July. So which means by the time we get around to it, whole new batch of Florida Man.
Oh man. Or you won't even be able to talk about the June and July.
No, we're going to need to move on to whatever the fuck else it was. So we'll move to whatever month that was.
Yeah.
But here's the reason that I said we should do this show.
Yeah.
Because this is the bullshit that I'm like, how is this a thing?
Yeah, and this is the most recent bullshit.
How are the rest of America not freaking the fuck out about this? Because this is some bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
So the textbooks came out in Florida, the new standard, that apparently is one of the things to, combat critical race theory, I guess.
Is to teach non-critical.
Yeah, exactly.
The opposite of that, which would be bullshit race theory.
Yes. And one of the things that I'm not even getting
race theory.
I'm not even getting to the good part yet. Because one of the things that DeSantis keeps saying is that he doesn't like that white children are being made to feel bad about themselves. And I'm like, dude, like, welcome to blackness in America. Right. Like, everything we teach, everything we do teaches black kids to be, feel othered. So anyway, the actual situation here is these textbooks, and this is, how are we not all on the streets? How are we not so upset? I'm very upset by this. The Florida Standards of Teaching now say enslavement was beneficial to the Africans brought to America unwillingly. And I added the unwillingly.
Okay. To be fair, I'm going to tell you that I was taught this also, this exact thing. It was not codified.
Sure.
But this is the kind of shit.
Your school district.
But no, not just my school district. Growing up in the South, this is the kind of shit you were taught, especially during my time period, like during the 80s. You were taught, that like the slave owner was nice to the slaves. You wouldn't beat a tractor to death.
Yeah.
Right? You wouldn't, like, you paid good money for that tractor, so you treat it nicely. And they were out in the fields singing the spirituals.
Yeah, so they must be happy.
They must. They're a happy folk. Listen, right. Look at black people now. Look at how jolly they are. Yeah. Like, they're always cutting the fool and having a good time. Like, clearly they like to party, and they always did. So they had a good time, even though they were picking the cotton and whatnot. Yes. That's the kind
even
of shit.
Though they were systematically raped and beaten.
I'm just telling you, that's the kind of shit I grew up.
Oh yeah.
I didn't unlearn this shit until I got to college, and it was only because I went to a northern private art school that I took a social history class there, where I learned about race riots, and I learned about a bunch of other crazy shit that was like kind of mind opening. And I was like, God damn, okay, so this is like, yeah, all right.
Look, we're not the heroes. The Confederacy was not the heroes.
I was. It was like because the way they sell it down where I grew up was, it was like a, what am I trying to say? It was like Ragnarok. It was like a like you're destined to lose, but you fought the good fight anyway.
Right.
That's the way they fucking sold it.
Yeah.
Like.
Well, and Florida seems to be doubling down on that.
They are totally doubling down on that shit. I'm just saying, it's funny to me that we're acting like it's something new, and it wasn't something new, because this is the curriculum I was fucking taught. Okay? I came out of the South Carolina school system believing this shit, and then learned later in life what a bunch of crock of shit this nonsense was. But I do think it kind of, maybe it's pushing it a little bit further, because it was like,
yeah.
So the things I were taught were basically like, yes, slavery happened. It wasn't that bad. Here we're going like further to say, hey, they signed up for it. We basically went over and recruited them.
We drafted them.
Hey, who wants to be a slave? And they were like, shit, I do. Africa sucks. Yay. I'm ready to get out of here.
Right. Well, and enslavement was beneficial, and that's part of the language. Is these African people who we forcibly. They don't say that. We brought here are learning skills.
An addendum to this one is today. Now they're teaching that the race riots of the early 1900s were provoked by the black folks.
Oh God!
Like, they basically asked for it. They were basically like, "Hey, could you guys come over here and like massacre a whole bunch of us? Because we're running a pretty
like Tulsa.
We got we got a pretty successful." Business district, but if you guys could burn it down and kill us and rape us, that'd be swell.
Here's the crazy thing. I did not. Yeah, absolutely. No, this is for sure. And that's what we know. Matt and I know is the Detroit riots. Obviously, neither of us were born then, but that was our legacy, right? That's how we understood it. Mm-hmm. But I didn't know about Tulsa until fairly recently.
Goddamn, yeah. Nobody learned about it until the last 10 years I would say.
The Detroit riots were caused by the police.
Oh, yeah.
And there's a whole, we can have a whole show on that.
Hey, I think I say this every fucking episode. Let's reiterate. In every case where the police come up against regular folks, the police are on the side of property, not on the side of regular folks. Remember that.
Yes.
Remember that. I'm sorry, ACAB, #ACAB. every fucking time with this guy.
Yeah, I'm with you.
And this is an argument we have in my house because my wife was like, "You can't generalize about people." And I'm like, I can't about cops.
Look,
I'm sorry.
I've had this argument with people that were like, people who are pro cop, whatever. Individuals, fine. I get that. And she's like, well, it's not systemic because I know some really nice cops. Like, that's not what systemic means.
My uncle's a cop, so it's not a thing.
But that's not what systemic means.
Right.
Systemic doesn't mean...
Systemic means the whole thing was...
The whole system, not just the cops.
Yeah.
The entire fucking system from the ground up. The whole thing.
Exactly.
Everything. So, yes.
Its purpose is to protect property. And I'm not just talking like... Cops are not just for white people and against black people. They're for billionaires and anti-you. If you're not a billionaire... or you don't own property, fuck you. That's the side they're on is property.
That comes from the earliest history.
Yes.
And by the way, the earliest history was black people were property.
Sure.
I mean, that's just the
100%
fucking fact.
But I'm saying in every argument, look, go back and read Union history or anything. And sometimes that's white people against white people. But the cops will come in, and on which side will they come in on? Which side will they come in on every fucking time?
Every fucking time.
You look. It'll be on the side of who has money.
It
will not be on the side of the underdog. It will never be. If you think you're an underdog and you've been shit on, and you're like, "Why? I'm a white guy and I've always been shit on." Well,
yeah.
Listen, the cops are your enemy and black people are not. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah. No, I'm
pick some class unity. God damn it.
100% with you here. Absolutely. So we only got to the Florida part of we didn't get to Florida Man. And we will. We'll get back to it eventually. We'll just come up with all new Florida men.
Oh gosh. Yeah, we'll come back around to Florida.
Situation. Yeah, but because it's right.
Oh god, we didn't even talk about it. Did you see the thing a couple weeks ago where there was a bunch of people outside of the Disney World entrance waving fucking Nazi flags?
Mm-hmm.
Now this wasn't DeSantis. This was an official government thing,
right?
But clearly they were tapping into a fucking vibe, right?
Oh, of course, fucking sure, yeah.
Because he has been at fucking war with the Disney World people,
yeah.
And
I think he picked the wrong battle there.
Oh, absolutely. Because again, what I was just saying about, here's the thing, and this is always a funny thing to me, like Republicans in general, so Republicans have two battles they're fighting. One of them is they're for, capital, right? And capitalist ideals. And the other one is they're for populism and bullshit.
Right.
But the populism thing is actually a front. It's just to get because people it's to get the common man on board with the capitalist shit.
Yeah.
So whenever they go up against capitalism, I'm always like, is this really a battle you're prepared to win? Because I'm like,
absolutely.
Because you're not gonna.
Absolutely.
And it really it fucks with me too, because then I read it and I'm like, I don't know who the fuck I'm for in this fight.
Exactly.
On one hand, you got a multi-billion-dollar company that I'm not a fan. Right.
I've got issues with that. I've got fundamental issues with that too.
Yeah, I got issues. I got issues with fucking corporations, and then then you're a fascist bullshitter, right wing nonsense fighting with a fucking corporation, and I'm like, well, fuck, I don't know who to pull for in this. Like, I hope you destroy each other, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, that's the best we can offer. Actually, the best we can offer for Florida, if all the good people get out now, because the best we can hope for is global warming.
Yeah, all of it. Like the hurricanes and Disney and DeSantis can fight it out.
And everybody else just get the fuck out. All right.
Gator's going to eat you.
Yeah, that's true. Well, to be underwater. All right, we should probably close out. We've got a pizza to eat.
We do.
So why don't you take us away?
All right. Bill Has Opinions is introduced
every time.
The fuck am I?
It's because we drink all episode, and then you're language.
Bill Has Opinions is produced and squid by the blood. Bill Has Opinions is produced and engineered by Laura Lavoie. The opinions of Bill are his and his alone, unless Laura shared them. I think this time we were on the same page.
It's hard not to be on the same side.
Yeah, I mean, well, I don't know, because somebody voted for that shit.
Obviously, but we wouldn't be friends. We would not be friends.
We wouldn't be in the same room.
No.
Anyways, be sure to follow us and on Facebook. Like and subscribe on YouTube. #OpinionGang if you got something to say. or you want to have an idea for a future show or any of that kind of thing, feedback, whatever. What else? I guess tune in next week. We're gonna have a new show about.
Okay, we're working. We don't have a title for this yet because everything I come up with is too long.
Oh gosh.
But it's basically the TV trope of unqualified detectives.
Oh yeah. This is gonna be fun. You guys are gonna love this one.
We're gonna enjoy it.
It's gonna be quite the opposite of this episode.
Oh, absolutely.
It won't be so serious. It'll be some nonsensical nonsense. Is what it'll be.
I need to come up with a short title. But...
Yeah, the unqualified detective. Oh gosh,
but it's a TV trope.
It's a TV trope. Yeah, we're going to be examining in depth, and you guys are going to love it.
You will.
Trust me, if you're into that sort of thing. All right,
folks.
So join us next week for that, and otherwise, have a good week, and
bye everybody.
Be sure to drink a beer for me.